actually straighten his hat,
Yeah.
it would
Can I
be
wear it?
wonderful.
Can I wear it then?
It's
If you could straighten his hat while looking at this camera, go for it. This is the first challenge of the day right here. Straighten a hat looking at the camera while he puts it on perfectly.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
It's an OCD thing. I gotta have a feel for it. Otherwise, I'd scream at myself for hours on end.
No OCD allowed. Okay, so without further ado, so the podcast today is going to be about anime games, adaptations, imports, and things of that nature. And wow.
It's pronounced animu.
Okay, animu, you freaking weeb.
all right.
Otaku.
So we're gonna start the actual podcast recording now.
Okay.
People who watch the stream get a little bit extra stuff. Like last week, we talked about Vlad and Boris.
How did that
Our
go?
viewers, Vlad and Boris. Do you not know about our viewers, Vlad and or our listeners?
I don't Twitch.
They're
Vlad
listening
and
in.
Boris.
I don't Twitch.
They're our biggest fans.
Oh.
They live in
Hello,
Russia.
Vlad and Boris.
I can't remember if it's Vlad. I think it's Vlad now has a girlfriend named Natalia.
Oh, that's adorable.
That is amazing.
Congratulations, Vlad.
So
Shout out to you.
we love you guys. All right, so we're gonna start the podcast recording, and Jalen, make sure that you talk directly into that.
Hello.
Hello.
All right,
Me you're looking
podcast
for.
recording starting. Who's hosting? You're hosting.
Jalen,
Or am
so.
I? I'll host.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm hosting because I have the questions.
I
that
always
Milan
forget
wrote.
basic.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the essence of
So Milan wrote the questions, Taylor's hosting, and this was my idea.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, ready.
Originally, I was not supposed to be in this, but
But you
I
are.
am.
All
Yeah,
right.
because he's a veritable source of information. All right, sorry.
Okay.
Not really.
1, 2. Hello, and welcome to the Library of Games podcast, Season 12, Episode 3. I am your host for today, Taylor Bayless, Gamertag Minecrans, and with me we have...
Hi, I'm Jalen Fuller, gamertag Leo Satan or Tohiro Hidori, depending on my mood.
Hey, I'm Milan Johnson, gamertag Anani Mouse Gamer.
And today we are going to be talking about anime games. So when we say anime games, we're not talking about games inspired by anime. We are talking about games that have been adapted from anime or manga. So
Yes.
direct adaptations.
Mhm.
So let's start this off with a very kind of basic question about games based on anime. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they somewhere in between?
I'm gonna let you start this one off, Jalen.
Well, I feel about them the same way I feel about any video game, which is a long, convoluted list of stuff. Because first of all, I think any game can be good depending on who plays it. I may not like Barbie's Fun Time Adventure on a horse, but somebody out there likes it. To each their own, and people like shoot down video games because they're widely disliked. But for example, I like Super Princess Peach. I acknowledge that there are bad undertones, but as a game in itself, I enjoy the gameplay. I enjoy the fact that it's part of the Mario franchise. It's a brand name, kind of like how people like Apple, and that kind of like goes into anime games. They can be good, they can be bad, but that's just in my opinion. Anything I think is bad, somebody else may like, and something else that people think is bad, like Xenoverse, I like.
Everything I wanted you to say, you did not say. Like, whoa, what just happened?
What do you mean?
I wanted to hear great backup, not Super Princess Peach happen, but okay. My opinion on what makes games good and bad is kind of the same, like, to each their own, but I feel like what makes them good is, like, the balance of everything, like story, gameplay, action, scenes. It all fits in together, and it just forms something great. The sad thing though is all those quote unquote great games never get imported to America, and we kind of have to like either import it or find ways around it, having a friend to import it. So
Like, being Jack Sparrow.
exactly.
For someone here who knows very little about anime games, and you'll know I'm going to be pretty quiet today and just asking questions because I don't know too much. What are the kind of anime games that we're talking about, the ones that do get released in the U.S.?
Well, for me personally, you want to go first?
Well, back and forth, because I probably know most of the games you're gonna.
For me personally, the main thing that made this podcast idea come to mind for me was Dragon Ball Z video games in general. Everyone knows about them. The majority of people love them. For me, I started off with, I don't know if these were obscure or not, because I don't really talk to people about the obscurity of video games, but the games known as Legacy of Goku, which were Dragon Ball Z RPGs for the Game Boy Advance, and they were awesome. They managed to transport the story that I grew up on and loved when I was like 5 years old from Dragon Ball Z into a 2D sprite-based RPG video game.
Top view.
In a way, exactly. That was extremely fun, and that always made my mind go just. I did a little thing, or my mind went boom.
Curious, being that you started off with the Legacy of Goku series, how do you feel about I believe it was called Boo's Fury?
Boo's Fury. I love the game. It's amazing.
Because, I mean, that was made very, like, I want to say 2 years after Legacy of Goku 2. And it was like the whole entire animator changed and everything. So you didn't really get the same environment of the game. So how'd you kind of feel about the artistic change of it?
I kind of felt different. I didn't really play them between periods of time. I kind of got them all at the same time because I don't usually play games when they come out because I can't afford them at that point in time. So I get them later on from a friend or something. A lot easier. I'd suggest that to everyone, no matter how much money you have. But I played them all in succession, and I couldn't tell the difference at all. Honestly, it seemed like the graphics got slowly better, and the gameplay got slowly better, which is something I just put in my mind as, oh, that just happens with any video game. The first one's all right, or maybe it doesn't look the best, but as you go on in the games, the sequels, it gets better and better looking.
Okay. Well, let me see. Where did I start on anime games? That's a kind of difficult question. I could say I started off with Dragon Ball Z. I could say I started off on GameCube with a Naruto game, or I could say I did the One Piece Mansion that's also on GameCube. But the problem with that is every title I just mentioned is a Shonen Jump game, so I'm not sure if that means something aside from this media kind of bought out the gamer market for gaming to get imported to America, maybe?
Well, and also those are like some of the most popular anime and manga series just in general in the US, so they know that there's a built-in audience.
True.
Whereas I think some of the games that haven't been imported, probably there's not much a market here.
Yeah, like we could relate that to DC Comics or any movie that's turned into a game. Like with DC Comics, of course, they're going to make a game for Superman or for Batman or something like that because there's an audience behind that. But if you go for a character like Booster Gold that a lot of people don't know about, or at least they didn't at one point, even now they still wouldn't get as much revenue from that, so it wouldn't be a smart business idea.
And
or with
also, Shonen Jump and just shonen in general, or so many of those series are battle manga, and it's really easy to take battle manga and turn that into a video game because it's like battle, action, or fighting. It's a really easy adaptation.
But the thing is, even for some of the games that aren't shonen that did get imported, like the Dot Hack series, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with.
I've heard of it.
Okay, so basically what it is kind of like a JRPG that was imported to America. You take the role of a person who's trapped inside of a game like every other anime game now, SAO and things of that nature. I'm just mentioning the top of the rank types or the most known types. I mean, I can say other ones, but probably the viewers will not know. But basically, you take the role of that person, and then it's kind of like the Digiverse, actually. Not even joking.
Oh, God.
You go around fighting, you get upgrades, you get allies, they level up, change appearance. It's
chicken egg question. Which came first, the game or the anime for Digimon?
For Digimon, I believe the anime came first.
Looking things up on my phone. Fact
Google.
checking.
Google, our best friend.
In the
And
meantime,
in the meantime,
elevator music.
Yes, the next question.
so Milan, you talked about a couple of games that haven't been imported that
Well,
do
some
you
games.
feel should be important? I guess the bigger question is, there are a lot of games based on anime that are only in Japan, have never been imported to the U.S. Do you think there's a market for it? Do you think that people will buy and play more of these anime-based games?
Okay, personally, I feel like if they actually give anime games a chance and not be the whole, I want to say, visual novel, dungeon crawler type games that they base every other anime that is imported to America on, then they might have a chance. So I'm saying, like, if they make it into, I don't know, a 3D RPG, what other kind of games? Hack and slash, like things that kind of are very popular in America, but aren't that popular other places. Maybe it'll have a chance because you could still relate to multiple audiences at the same time. But what they've been doing, I'm not sure. Because like, if I go on Steam right now and search anime games, I guarantee that Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Xenoverse, that new One Piece game, Hyperdimension, Neptunia, stuff like that is gonna pop up, and those are mostly fighting games, visual novels, or like random music games. How do you feel?
As much as I love anime, and I do feel like there's a growing weeaboo culture in America right now.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So am I. Maybe not as much as I could be, but still one nonetheless. I don't think that they would take the chance here because I don't think there's a large enough group of gamers that love anime that would buy anime games. Like, I acknowledge there's a large amount of people that like anime, a large amount of, people that like games, but I don't know if those two clash enough that they will want to buy games of the animes they like, because I know personally, nowadays, I wouldn't take a chance with certain, not even just anime, with certain series I like in general if they made a video game for it, because nowadays, they're just, like, hacking out video games like a cough. They're just there, and they're bad.
Well, you do hear that there is a Attack on Titan game coming out.
And do you trust it?
I saw a trailer for it, actually, the gameplay trailer, and it does look pretty decent.
Speaking of Attack on Titan video games, screw the new one that's coming out. Somebody already made one, for a while.
Game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fan, and it's very well known. Fenglee.com, FENGLEE.com/game/AOG. It. Oh my God, the game is good. You can change your camera perception. You have little chibi characters you run around with. The main characters from the show. Don't remember the name. Haven't read or cared about Attack on Titan in a while. Still love the game, but you get to kill Titans in a fan-made game. That's good.
Ash Chibi.
What else do you want? And as chibis, that's
See,
it.
the thing is, that's actually accessible in America, though. So let's mention a game that's that exact same theory, Chibi. You get to fight
But
incredible
it's free.
creatures.
That's the thing. It's free.
True, it is free.
No one has
and
to pay for it.
online.
Yeah.
But as much as I love free online games, I do like paying for games as well.
Oh yeah, I totally pay for them. I pay for them as a pirate. Yar har fiddly dee.
You know what I'd actually like to see more than just like direct adaptations is more things like Ni no Kuni, which is where Studio Ghibli worked on a video game. So if you haven't played Ni no Kuni, it's a JRPG that was totally art directed, designed by Studio Ghibli. It is like playing a Miyazaki game.
Totally,
And
totally
I'd like to
kinda.
see.
That
Well,
exists.
keep going.
Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest was created by Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing that, and just in general, I think oftentimes it's really difficult to take something that, especially in video games, it's true in other mediums, to take something that first existed in one medium and adapt it to another. I think it's easier from like book to movies or play to movies, but when you take something like a TV show or a movie and try to adapt it to a video game, it's really difficult because where do you kind of expand that story? Like, where's the point where it becomes necessary to play? I feel like it's not very natural to do that. And oftentimes when you come up with a fresh new story, then the gameplay fits in much more seamlessly than like, oh, we've got this world, let's shoehorn in some pre-existing gameplay into the story.
That's another thing about anime video games. It's a little weird because it seems like it's less about playing a game where you get to decide what happens and more like you're acting out the part of a character and you already know how it's going to end. Which for some people, they love the idea of that. I mean, people say this all the time, but I know how many of you out there have tried to do a Kamehameha. I know. I'm one of them. You're one of them.
I tried doing a spirit bomb. Get it right.
Gallic gun?
Nope. Special being
man, I
cannon,
remember I had
yes.
something called a special Gallic Kamehameha.
Times 100.
Yeah. GT exists, GT counts, okay?
GT
Let's
is
just say
not
that right
canon,
now.
though.
But more Dragon Ball Z video games that are just great. There's a Dragon Ball Z GT game out there. They should beat 'em up. It's really good. It's just play it. It's like Double Dragons, but Dragon Ball GT. Ooh, and a lot of people are gonna get mad at me for that if they see this. But here's a secret: I don't care. All right, where are we going from here?
Just our fact check from earlier. Digimon actually started as digital
Anime?
pets like Tamagotchi, like virtual
Oh
pets.
yeah, I own
That's
those,
where
the little
Digimon
tiny
began.
circle things that
And
you
then-
carry on keychains.
Yeah, and then the anime came after that. So that's Digimon. So here's a question somewhat related to Digimon. Where does Pokemon fit into all of this? Something where it feels like the anime and the games kind of coexist really well, and it's all kind of seamless. And
It's a
together.
reverse process from what we're asking here because we're asking about anime that become video games. It is an example of a video game that became an anime and a manga because
And a card game.
card game
Card game was there, but
yeah.
even so,
But anyway,
it was all
based
of
off of the
above.
games, Red, they made the Pokemon Adventures. No, anime. Well, not anime, manga. The manga's awesome. They have an American version, which is kind of like cookie cutter. There's no violence. Then the Japanese version, Pokemon actually like die. There's blood and
The
get cut in
graveyard
half.
is real.
It's
basically.
awesome. It's like really awesome. Then you have then they actually did recently make a Pokemon Red anime based off of one of the Red, Blue, or Yellow games. Pokemon
Cool.
Origins.
Yeah.
Red, Blue. Their names are colors. it's I haven't seen it, but I've seen videos of it. It looks really cool. Just small snippets though.
Well, personally, I would think that Pokemon actually does count as an anime game, being that it's kind of released in Japan and America simultaneously, like with the games and anime and like everything pretty much.
Well, we have
It's
to
kind
define
of-
what an anime game is first then.
Oh God.
Is it anything that is a game with an anime, or a game that becomes an anime, or a game that's adapted from an anime, or all of the above?
I feel like it would be all of the above, but at the same time, I kind of question that in my head right now.
I feel like it's an interesting. It's interesting to look at if you are trying to make a game based on an anime and trying to create a kind of franchise world where game and anime can coexist and kind of supplement each other, but also be their own separate thing. And maybe it's something to strive for, like having that kind of balance if you're going to be doing both. Although I feel like a lot of anime games are just cash-ins. They're not really designed to kind of be on equal footing the way that anime and games are in the Pokemon world.
That's probably true for the majority of them, but gotta go back to my original example.
DBZ.
Dragon Ball
yeah.
Z. First of all, I want to talk about, like I said before, Dragon Ball Z fighting games, which have evolved so much from the original first Budokai game, which was just basic, crappy 3D on the PlayStation 1, but I loved it. Then Budokai 2 came out, slightly better, slightly more characters, and I love how each game was it started from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z and moved slowly along in the story. I think the first game went all the way up to partway through the the Frieza saga, I could be wrong. And then each game still started from the beginning, but moved even further along in the series, even though the series in Japan was way farther than that at the time. I always loved that. It's like I could watch the show, then I could play that scene in the game, then I could wait till the next one comes out, go even further, play even further. It gave me a reason, though I don't need a reason to binge watch Dragon Ball Z. It gave me another reason, other side to just want to do it. And just the gameplay always got better and better. At first, it was just basic like fighting games, Street Fighter, Tekken. You see your character from the side, and they can attack each other, and that's really it. Then further on, it became kind of a free 3D environment where you could just fly around in any direction you want on split screen, offline. And now they have online with Dragon Ball Xenoverse, where you can level up your character, create your own character based off of some of the races in Dragon Ball Z, be trained by some of the Dragon Ball Z characters that people know and love. You can get trained by Hercule. You can get trained by Mr. Frickin' Satan.
I thought it was pronounced Satan, but okay. Keep going.
I don't know. You saying Satan made me think of that whoever is the name in Power Rangers, Sabbath or something like that. I don't know. I don't watch Power Rangers.
Why did we bring Power Rangers up in an anime conversation, dude? Like,
because
Why
Power
do we
Rangers
ever
is good
bring?
anime.
Why do we ever bring up Power Rangers?
Because people think it's good and they need to understand that. I
No.
usually think
No.
people can believe
No.
whatever they want, but
but
some random white guy wearing a red spandex bodysuit backflipping on a field and the field exploding and a giant monster dying. That's not good TV.
I gotta say,
That's
though,
a dream.
Power Rangers is pretty much America. Ultraman is Japan, but
Yeah.
Ultraman does have games and anime. So would that make that an anime game?
But which came first with Ultraman?
Ultraman, the
The-
TV show came first,
yeah.
I believe.
That's the thing with anime adaptations,
against
which I feel we can
Godzilla.
talk about here as well. Like, I think about Sword Art Online, which people don't like, but I don't care.
I like
Sword
the
Art
Abridged
Online,
series.
they had it was an anime first, which was the first I ever heard of that was an anime before it was a manga. I don't even think it is a manga. All I've heard of
It is a manga.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was only a
It's a manga
novel.
and novels, but there
Okay.
is manga.
All right. Well,
Okay.
it's an anime then a manga, which still that's like going completely against the formula. They're fighting the system, man.
It happens. They're usually bad. The manga adapted from
Yeah.
anime. I've read a few. One of my favorite anime is Fulikuli, and the manga of that is absolutely unreadable. It is one of the worst things I
How
have
can they
ever
even
read.
transfer the perverted nonsense?
Exactly.
into
It is
an anime?
Fulikuli as an anime is pretty unintelligible, but you can kind of piece it together over multiple viewings,
And it's hilarious.
it works. Yeah, and it's hilarious. Manga just completely unintelligible. I never read the manga.
When I say hot, you say garbage. Hot.
Garbage. So Milan has a theory about PSP and handheld gaming and the world of anime gaming.
Oh, that first
Milan.
one, no, the PSP.
Okay,
Oh.
so as we all know, PSP had tons of imports from Japan, and it pretty much had one of the largest RPG rosters out of any system aside for PlayStation 2. So my question was, like, how do you feel about actual, like, all of them being imported to a handheld system and stuff, like the major consoles being, like, at the time when they were coming out, it was PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360? Like, how do you feel about them just going straight to a handheld instead of, like, I want to say big screen, but
Well, I
Not
feel like
sure.
it was a money-saving opportunity because it's kind of how the every Aladdin movie after the first one was straight to VHS. Like it wasn't in theaters, and they saved a lot of money because of all the press they would need, probably the money they'd have to pay the theaters, etc. Instead, they just send them straight to the PSP, which is probably the most inexpensive system that they had at the time. Probably the easier to port to because people were always cracking their PSPs to make them run better.
also
Run
PSP
other
is
games.
still making games to this day.
Seriously?
Yes.
Mhm.
The one of the newest games is Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force Arc V Special, which
Huh.
came out in January 2015.
What happened to the PS Vita?
PS Vita kind of went downhill because basically people actually learned how to get the full capabilities of it via hacking it, because it was like the games released for it were kind of crappy,
Yeah.
and the main reason people were buying the PS Vita was to actually play PS3 games on the go. So once people actually figured that out, they actually stopped buying the original PS Vita games and just kept on buying PS3 games from PSN and just importing it over to their PS Vita so they could actually be on the go.
Smart idea.
I mean, PSP has sort of been the realm of the JRPG as well.
Yes.
So I feel like Sony could have a possible market, like kind of a tiny niche market with a handheld that really caters to people who are fans of Japanese games. So that would include anime games, JRPGs, whatever they feel like doesn't.
Well, Sony is bringing in one of the biggest titles for Japanese RPGs, anime games entirely, which is called Jump Ultimate Stars, which originally started on Nintendo DS.
Yes, and I loved that game. Is amazing.
I still own the import to this day.
Super Smash Brothers with anime characters. People can get
What?
Goku and Smash. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That
and the newest game
Why
that is
ha-
3D. Like it's
The
like a
roster
3D
is supposed
environment.
to
You can
be-
like run around and turn.
I just imagine all of the people that come to you media and their brains exploding.
Well,
Yeah.
Jabik thinks anime is too edgy, so he wouldn't play it, and probably the rest of them would follow suit because they have no minds.
But
That's right. I called you out. I love you guys.
so, like, the playable roster for that game is over 70 characters, and then with supports, it's over like 1,000, I believe, because they go through each character of the anime itself.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And
So
the manga?
even like little like supporting characters.
Yeah,
are in
so
there?
so let's bring up one of those crappy anime series. Not to me, but I love this series, but most people disagree with it. Inuyasha.
I
What?
Yeah.
love you. I love Inuyasha.
Inuyasha.
I
Inuyasha
love
is
Doesn't
awesome.
like
Inuyasha,
Inuyasha,
but people
yeah.
say
People
the,
that are mad because it's not your basic battle anime. It has a
Ugh.
love story.
first
in there.
thing, it was about feudal Japan. People need to understand that. But people kind of didn't like Inuyasha because Kagome made the whole series useless.
What?
Just saying, putting it out there.
She was the point. She was. How can you say someone that was like the main point
no,
of the
no one
series?
cares about a quote-unquote blessed priestess who controls a cat with ears, tells him to sit, and stops him from
Cat.
wreaking havoc.
You just said
Yes,
cat.
I said cat demon.
I.
Yeah, walk out, Jalen, walk out. I made it. I successfully
Jalen,
made a walk.
for those who are watching the live stream, they've just seen Jalen disappear from view. I'm going to shift the camera so you can see what's currently happening with Jalen right now.
Yeah.
He is hiding under a table.
I am completely able to make any anime
Crying.
friend cry under a table and rock and continue rocking.
He's there. He's come back out. He's coming out.
Making a comeback.
He's coming back.
Boy, let me tell
coming
you
back.
something. First of all, a cat. He is a dog demon,
Nope.
because his father
It's a cat.
was a gigantic wolf demon. I'm taking a seat. You need to
Okay.
understand a couple things.
You think I got
Second
time
of all,
for his
she
feet,
wasn't
though?
a blessed priestess. She's like a female King Arthur. She is a reincarnation.
No,
Have you ever read Abbott High?
no, sadly. I need to. That's on my
We
read list.
just
I love it.
I-
It's the idea of reincarnation alone is a wonderful thing, just like in real life. And anime, it's also amazing. Like it's a struggle for identity because everyone she has her own person, has her own time, own personality, and when she goes to feudal Japan, everyone just sees her as the blessed priestess Kagome, not Kagome, but whatever her name was. She's back and like
Kaguya.
Kaguya. I don't think that's right.
Oh wait,
Yeah, that's not right at all.
no, Kaguya was actually the sister of her. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got it
Yeah.
wrong. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you
It's-
called it a cat and you got the wrong name. You're
It's
done.
been a minute. It's been a minute since I Inuyasha. I am so sorry
Yeah,
to
it's-
anyone who actually is. a
Well, I'll have that
fan.
conversation with him afterwards. Anyway, you were saying?
Okay, so basically what I was saying is for series like Inuyasha, they have all the like main support characters, or rather main protagonists and things of that nature, like actual Inuyasha and the crew, because I don't feel like naming them just in case I get names wrong.
Moroku, Inuyasha.
Yeah, speaking to the
Kagome.
mic if you want to.
Moroku, Inuyasha, Kagome, and then Shippo.
Most likely Kagome would be a support. Just
Yeah,
saying.
she can't really do anything. I mean, she has a bow and arrow, but and also the Dragonborn has a bow and arrow. He's not in the game.
Also, Lord Sesshomaru would be a support as well because he's too overpowered.
No, he's not. Inuyasha kick his butt, and they can underpower him.
You know what? He had one arm and he was killing stuff.
He also has a sword that heals people, whether he wants it to or not.
We don't speak of that.
We speak of it afterwards, but...
But yeah, basically...
I feel like after this podcast, you guys are going to have some serious words.
We're going to sell this in Smash. Yeah. That is how U.S. people settle their problems in Smash.
It's like if you have a problem with your wife or with someone at work. No, just let me. Don't settle it in court. Settle it in Smash. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm crying on the inside.
You should be crying on the outside.
I want to walk to a corner, but I'm in the corner right now.
I
So
know.
just lean back and think about your life.
Okay, I'm just gonna ponder life.
Milan is curled up.
This is great.
He's thinking. All right. To finish off this podcast, I'm going to ask a kind of personal choice style question.
I like
Ooh.
these questions.
I like it.
So, what manga or anime series do you love that has not been made, as far as you know, into a video
Tagami
game
Dodge Letter
that
B.
you would like to see?
Oh God.
Hey,
That
Pete.
game. Listen, let me say something about that.
It would
Oh.
basically be like Yu Yu Hakusho, Spirit Detective, dude.
That game. That manga's garbage.
No.
Look, I
No.
shouldn't use this word. Misogynistic. It brings about ideas in a bag. But that main character's just straight girly. Just an absolute wimp. I'm sorry.
Wait.
I just-
Yu Yu Hakusho or
The
Tagami
reason I
Dodge?
use that is because I feel like it's the best. It's one of the best ways to get
He's
people to eat.
just emotional.
Wait, Yu Yu Hakusho or Tagami Dodge? Which one?
Tagami Batch.
Okay.
He cries more and worse than
That's
Tobey
true.
Maguire in Spider-Man.
That's actually why I stopped reading it, is because he was way too emotional for my
And
liking.
I'm one of the most emotional people I know, and I can't handle it. I get sad when my best friend or my bird gets sad. But I couldn't handle.
When your bird gets sad?
Yes, I can tell when my bird gets
my
sad.
bird gets kind of down.
But
It
that
doesn't flash
manga
much.
is just. He has to have some kind of dehydration
okay,
issue with all the tears
okay.
coming out his face.
Just so we could move the conversation
Yeah,
on.
sorry.
What would the game be like, Milan?
Okay, I feel like the game would basically. I don't even know what it would be like, but that's a difficult question. What would it be like? I want to switch animes now. Let
Yeah,
Jalen
I
answer,
can't
and I'll
really
make a
imagine
comeback.
What it would be like either. It's a
Fire
different series.
gun with all
We
your
have
heart.
Dragon Ball Z games, and they're all fighting games. But what if there was an adventure game based off of Dragon Ball? Like you
There
still have the
is.
fighting.
There is.
the
On
Game
Nintendo DS.
There's also one on Game Boy. Not on DS.
Yes, there is.
What?
Yeah, there's one on DS. It was basically the story of Son Goku. You walk around with the Goku from Dragon Ball, staff and all.
3D or?
No, it's a 2D side scroller kind of dungeon crawler.
Yeah,
type.
I've played it. That's not what I meant. When I said you could explore, I meant like because in this day and age we have the technology for it. I mean like a 3D environment where you can see everything, where you can choose the direction you hit your weapon with.
Yeah,
you get
but
to explore.
I don't feel like all 3D games are good.
No, they
Like,
aren't.
I feel like the 2D for Dragon Ball Z actually did its
It was
job.
good.
It was
really
great.
good.
It told the story as it was supposed
Are
to
you-
be.
I played multiple times.
Are you
It's
talking
wonderful.
about something that's almost like a modern, like, Zelda style
For me, I'm thinking
game?
more.
Or
I'm thinking more Skyrim.
Skyrim? More like
Imagine-
open world
Open
exploration?
world, yeah, like because in modern Dragon Ball, in the modern Dragon Ball Z world, if you can call it that, when Goku's an adult, they don't really go to the wastelands and the areas that Goku spent most of his childhood exploring with his friends, finding the Dragon Balls with Bulma, running from Yamcha, etc., etc.
He actually
Just-
spoke of Yamcha. That's
Yeah.
just putting that out there. That's like mentioning Jirobe, but okay, keep going.
Jalen, is there going to be more Smash
Mr.
fighting
Senzu
afterwards?
He's just baiting me so hard right now. All right, but yeah, that's just what I would want.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you changing your
I'm
your
changing.
pick?
I want a case closed game.
Yes,
Oh,
you were a
yes!
genius. Oh yes, we finally agree on something. Case Closed is so
I don't
good.
know what that gameplay would be like, but I would love a Case Closed game. That would just be amazing.
It could be King's Quest style.
Yes.
Yeah.
With new, obviously with new mysteries, because anybody who's read the manga will know where everything is and kind of ruin the experience.
Oh, that would be so much fun. I asked the
you
question.
need to make a game based on Case Closed.
I asked the question, and I'm having a hard time deciding, because most of my favorite manga, I don't watch a ton of anime. I mostly read manga. But a lot of the manga I love is really story heavy. Like, I love Naoki Urasawa. Like, his stuff is amazing. 20th Century Boys, Monster.
Oh,
I
20th
love
Century
it.
Boys.
I love it.
Man.
But I
that
can't
needs a movie,
see it.
not a video.
Yeah, that's a movie. It's
Yeah.
like his
Oh,
stuff are
God.
movies, not really video games. And like other stuff I like is really atmospheric, like Twin Speaka, Saturn Apartments. And I don't know if there's anything I love that really lends itself to a video game. And it's hard for me to think of one that really...
Most video games aren't story driven, so that's understandable.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Actually, you know what might
there
be...
are some, but...
like kind of cute, something like Yotsuba, where it's just like little kid adventures, like causing mischief, like a kind of
basically GTA for children, where Yotsuba is going around pranking people and just having fun.
Yeah,
GTA
that would
for
be very
children.
fun.
Wasn't that supposed to be that whole Lego City game?
Let's not
It
talk
was,
about that.
yeah.
Let's not talk about any Lego game.
Lego.
Ooh.
Not saying they're bad, but I just don't think they're not.
Lego
I
my
have
ego,
fun with
Jalen.
them.
Lego my ego.
I think they're fun, but I also think they're bad. Like,
Maybe a future podcast debate
On Lego games.
if
Lego
only Phil was
games.
here. We'll do that over the summer when Phil is here.
All right.
All right. Foreshadowing. All right, so this has been Library of Games podcast about anime video games.
Yes.
It's been great.
Yeah, and I was Taylor Bayless, gamertag my crayons.
Jalen Fuller, gamertag Tohiro Hidori or Leo Satan, depending on the mood.
I guess I used to be Milan Johnson, gamertag Anonymous Gamer.
All right.
And thank you for listening. Library of Games is recorded at U Media Chicago at the Harold Washington Library Center in downtown Chicago. You can find everything Library of Games at libraryofgames.org or on SoundCloud, iTunes. We're also on YouTube, Twitch. You may be watching this on Twitch or on YouTube. So check out the other stuff we do. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
And let's stop the podcast recording. And we're gonna stop the stream.
Hello.
Goodbye, streamer people.
Bye-bye.